Hello my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks workshop. I received some lights to install on some of my buildings. These are dusk to dawn lights and they are LED and I am excited to put them out there. So here's what the box looks like. Let me show you what one of the lights themselves look like. These are heavy duty big lights. This is a very, as they say, skookum light. Very heavy duty. So I'm excited to have these and to get them installed. Well, before I jump into the installation, maybe I ought to show you a couple more things. First of all, it came with some hardware, and it came with, I think this is going to be a photo cell, but I haven't opened it up to see. That's just what I think it is. Yep, I believe that's what it is. There are 3 lights like this in the box. I've got a set of instructions here. What more could I need? Let's get started. Well, my friends, we're at the metal working shop here, and we have an outdoor light, as you can see up here, and that is a motion sensor light. I'm kind of done with that light. It's been up there forever, and I'm glad to put up this new light, this new LED dusk to dawn. So the first thing I got to do is get up there and take that one off. Now I have not turned off the power yet, but I did turn the switch off. After I take this apart, I'll test to see if there's any other hot wires in that box. Doesn't appear like there's any hot wires in there, so I'm just going to take it apart. I was using my little Tesman voltage detector. I really like that thing. It works really well. We've got this off. Now we can take that box off and figure out how we're going to mount the new light. I would like to have a box there, but the way this light is made, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I like to do things the right way. You know, we're dealing with an old structure here. It's heavy oak. Doing things the right way is not the easiest on this. I don't think I have a box that's going to fit that particular mount. I think the first thing I'm going to do is try to mark where these holes are going to want to go. I'm going to have to lag them into this board. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that even, but I want to get some idea. Not exactly easy to do that because everything's sticking out here. Well, I may just have to rely on measurements because it's just impossible to hold it, and because of this cord sticking out and these wires, I can't get it flush. So I guess I'm just going to have to go on measurements. The drawings for this give you the measurements, and so I'm just going to have to mark it that way. Just like always, it's never simple. But it says 115.9 millimeters. Can you imagine? 115.9. First thing I'm going to do is get myself a vertical line here that's going to get me plumb with this little level. I'll draw a line above and below that I think will cover the area, and then I'll take my 115.9 and try to split that somewhere about the middle of that. That looks close enough to center, so we'll call that the first one, and then 115.9 right in here. We'll call that the other one. What my plan is, I think, is to try to find a box that'll fit in this area here that I can embed and then put lag bolts through these 2 holes. That's my best guess. Don't know if I've got anything like that that's going to work or not, but I'll look around and see what I do have. Well, I found the smallest box I could find in my stash, and I think it'll work. So now what I need to do is put it on here and center it and draw around it and try to center it halfway between these holes, and that looks good. I get it centered on that vertical line there, and then I'll take my drawing pencil and draw around it. But that worked out real nice, and I think I can cut out a perfect square there. I'll have to get my square cutter tool, and we'll see if we can make that happen. Okay, this is what I call my square hole cutting tool right here. We'll see if it works. It would work in normal wood for sure, but this stuff is oak, and it's old oak. It's probably 75 years old, and it's as hard as concrete. I didn't expect it to cut it very well, to be honest, but it did a pretty good job. I can tell it's loose, but it ain't loose, if you know what I mean. Let me see if I can, there we go, now we're getting it. Now we're getting it, yep. Perfect, just absolutely perfect. Now will we get lucky and have this go in on the first time, or will we have to do some trimming? And the odds are we're gonna do some trimming, but you never know. Might get lucky. I could have made it a hair bigger, you know what I mean? I never do that, I always make it exactly the right size, and I got a yellow jacket coming after me here. I think I can drive that in. I'll just need to get a little persuader. Got the little orange persuader here. I think it'll go in. Well, what I didn't account for was these little bulges down in the corners. There's one here and one up there, and I didn't see that, but should have thought about that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in there on the anvil and bend these little flaps in just a little more, because they look like they could go in a hair more, and then thank goodness that didn't break, I don't think. Whoa, I don't like my red wasps. We get a lot of them up here. Let's see if this will go. Kind of think it will this time. Yep, it's going to go this time. No problem. There you go. Worked perfectly. Just took 4 tries to get it. Now I'm going to get some little screws and drill into here and try to get some wood screws to go into there. Got me 2 drills in order to accomplish this simple task here. Let's see if it works. First one, I'm going to just drill the hole for the screws. Kind of drilling them a little bit of an angle because there's nothing there. Well, that one worked. Okay. That box is locked in there. It ain't going nowhere. Now we can drill the bigger holes for the mounting screws. While I got this here, I'll just drill a pilot hole and then we'll put a bigger bit on there. Well, off camera, I found some good lag bolts. These are old. These are very old, square-headed lag bolts. They're older than the building, more than likely, but they're perfect shape. I cleaned them up on the wire wheel, and then I waxed them with beeswax so that they'll go in fairly easy. The only negative of these is you can't use power tools to drive it unless you have a square drive, and I could probably come up with one if I had to, but I'm not worried about that for this little bit of work. But I do have a drill here. I'm going to go ahead and drill where I already put the pilot holes, and then I'm going to test fit these lags in there before I get that heavy light up there. That drilled easier than I was expecting because it just sucked it in there. Now I'm going to test fit these lag bolts so that I don't have to do this later. I want to get these threads already ready to screw in before I get that heavy thing up here, because I know it's not going to be real easy to get these to screw in. It won't be hard. I mean, it'll work, but no point in fighting it with the heavy load. It'd be nice if those lights had a slot on them where you could pre-install the screws and then slide the lights down on the screws, but they don't work that way. They have holes, so you have to do it the way I'm doing it here. The beeswax definitely makes any kind of a screw going into wood much easier, so you should think about that if you ever need to do something like this. Put wax on them. You can use paraffin wax too, it works fine. Just any kind of wax, and some people use soap. I don't like the soap idea because it's water soluble. It can cause rust, so I prefer wax. But soap works if you don't have anything else. I think I'm all the way through on both of them now. Alright, so I'm going to back them back out. Now I'm going to need to do this wiring before I put the light up there. So I'm going to try to find me something that I can set the light on, have it up there real close. Maybe I'll put a block of wood on here or something to help hold it while I'm wiring it. Okay, my friends, on the directions, it's got green or yellow or green goes to ground. That makes sense. White is going to the neutral and black is going to the load. So we've got those three identified here. Now we have two other colors. We've got a what I would call a purple and a pink, and sure enough it shows it on here as purple and pink. Of course I have to be out here in the sunlight to see that, being colorblind, but I can tell generally. I don't know how I tell, but I tell, even though I've never passed a colorblind test ever. But the pink and the purple are for dimming this light. So if you were going to put a dimmer on this and wanted to dim it, you would use these. But I don't plan to dim it right now, so I'm going to ignore those extra wires. And we're just going to use the three main wires to connect up. Well, the view from this side probably won't be that great, but unfortunately the sun is on the other side, so I don't have many options. There's a lot of cable here, and I don't think I can get all of that down in this box. So I hate to do it, but I think I may have to cut off some of this. I think I'll have plenty. In fact, I know I'll have plenty. Unfortunately, there's only two wires here. This whole place was wired up pretty poorly. Unfortunately, I don't have an extra ground, so I'll just run the ground to this box. That's all I can do for the moment. I'm going to tape up the pink and the purple wires back to the main cord, just to get them out of my way mainly. And then they're kind of secured that way. Okay, then I'll use my Tesman wire strippers. I really like these wire strippers. They're really nice. A lot of guys will frown on this, but I'm going to go ahead and solder the ends of these wires. I know a lot of electricians don't like that, but I'm going to solder the end of these wires and then put wire nuts on here, and it'll just make a better, more secure connection for me. Okay, I've got all three wires soldered up. Like I said, I understand that a lot of people don't like that. All I can say is it's the way I like to do it. It works for me. I've done it that way for years and never had a problem. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but there's a little screw that I can put into the box that I can barely get to, but it'll work. Now, if I put a crimp-on connector on that ground, I can put it on there real easy. So that's just what I'm going to do. All right, it's at least grounded back to the box. That's not the best, I get it, but stuff happens. So now we can take the white wires here, put them together with the wire nut. Now, I'm a fan of twisting the wires. I know a lot of people don't even bother, but I think that's the best way to do it. My grandfather was an electrician, and this is the way he taught me, so that's why I do it the way I do it. And that's why I wanted these soldered, so I could twist them together. This wire that I'm wiring to is a number 12. I thought it was a 14, but it's a 12, and that's probably the main reason I had to go to these bigger nuts. Technically, we're finished on the wiring. Now, can I get it together here? I think I can make it all work the way I'm doing it. Yeah, I think it's going to work. The trick is, can I hold this lag bolt, the washer, and get it started? And this is why I screwed those in ahead of time, because now I can screw them in by hand at least part of the way, far enough that they're not going to come off, and that'll actually hold it until I can get the other one started down below. That's why you do what you do. And these lags, I have washers on them also to spread out the stress, and also to allow them to turn down tight without breaking the housing here. Tighten that one just a little bit more. That is solid. It ain't going nowhere, I promise you. It's better than the old one was, I can tell you that for sure. Now I'm going to decide how I want this angled. Do I want to angle it up a little bit? I kind of think so. So that looks really nice. It's very good installation, better than what was there for sure. That ain't going nowhere. That's as solid as a brick. But I can get a wrench, and I'm going to change the angle and have it fan out that way a little bit. Rather than straight down, I'm going to have it fan out across the parking lot a little bit. So we'll get that done here in just a moment. As I think I mentioned before, this light is very skookum, and it takes a 10mm Allen wrench to turn it. It's at 0 degrees now. I think I'm going to put it up at about 15 degrees, maybe 30. The only problem I might have with that is because of the overhang of the roof is so close, the photocell might have a problem. I don't know. We'll find out tonight, won't we? Maybe it'll come on this evening, and if so, all's good. So my friends, here's what the water wheel looks like at night. Can you see it even? It's turning. But the reason I really got this on is to show you what it looks like pulling in up here with the new dusk to dawn light on the shop. You can see that it's all lit up. You can see it's nice and bright. I won't get lost looking for my car anymore in the dark.